Hi stamping friends, welcome to Melissa's Crafting Treehouse. Today I'll be sharing project details for my Class to Go giveaway featuring some fun gift packaging projects. I'm offering kits to make these projects with orders placed in my online store. So check out these lovely piles of precisely cut and prepared materials. Precision really is a priority to me, and so I just want to point that out. So these piles could be yours. So to learn about how you can get the project kits for free, make sure to watch till the end and you'll find details there. So also I'll be showing products today that are going to be discontinued. They're from the holiday catalog, which retires on January 2nd. And in the description below this video, I'll have a link to those retiring items in my online store. So I'm going to show you 9 quick projects in 3 color schemes. You can see the 3 color schemes in front of you. The free kits will include materials to allow you to customize the projects to your liking as well. So that makes it super fun. So these are some of the stamp sets and dies that I use for my projects. The Seasonal Chums stamp set, which I think is super cute. The Seasonal Tags framelits that go with it. So they create these adorable little tags that fold open if you want them to. I also use the Painted Harvest stamp set and the Snowflake Sentiment stamp set. Now I will tell you that you don't have to use these exact stamp sets. The kits are quite flexible so that you can use your own stamp sets as well. So for each of my color schemes, I have designed 3 projects to make 3 different types of gift packages. So for the first color scheme, this is the first project I made with one of these adorable little pizza boxes. And you can see it opens, it actually fits 9 Reese's peanut butter cups really nicely, but it can also, of course, have a cookie or jewelry, a gift card, chapstick, you name it. There's all kinds of things. And you might also notice that there's a shiny inside on this one. That shiny inside is intended to be food safe, so you can use it for a cookie without having to package it in something else if you want, or some other kind of food item. You can also fold the pizza box in either direction, so it can be the glossy side in if you want it food safe, or you can have the glossy side out if you want the decorative glossy element on the outside. So this is the basic project, and what we're going to do is 3 variations, 1 for each types of gift packaging. And I've laid out some of the materials that I'm going to use, and each variation is going to be a little bit different. But let's just start with the pizza box itself. So I'm going to actually fold this to have the glossy side in again. So just going to start by burnishing the edges so that it's got nice crisp folds. I'm going to do that on all sides and all the folds. So while I'm folding up this box, I'll take the opportunity to just tell you a little bit about the free kits. You're going to get materials to make 9 unique gift packages. You'll also get a PDF with all the dimensions and a supply list, which will allow you to purchase any additional supplies or make more of the same or similar projects yourself. So I've done all the cutting and prep to make this super easy for you. So all you have to do is add stamps, ink, and your own adhesive. Now when I fold this end, I want to make sure to leave that tab and not fold that at the same time, because that will stick out and act as a really nice little way to be a handle for opening the box. So now that all of my edges are folded, now when I've done my pizza boxes, I have not used a single bit of adhesive, but you could, if you wanted to, put some adhesive in on the flaps, but I haven't had any problem with them sticking together, so I'm just going to fold this bottom flap up and over, and the little tabs on the inside fit in and stick out the bottom just a bit. So you can see it's really quite secure, doesn't go anywhere. And then you can just fold it like that, and there your pizza box is all made. So the next thing I'm going to do is attach my side panels. I have cut little pieces of designer paper. I've attached these 3 already just to speed things up. And I wanted to show you that the designer paper is, you can use the back side if you want to. So I wanted to show you that. So for these first set of 3 projects, I'm pretty much taking you through every step by step, but when I get to the subsequent sets of projects, I'll speed things up a bunch just to make it a little less redundant. Used my 1/2-inch circle punch to punch out a little piece of espresso, and I'm going to use a glue dot because that would be nice and easy to attach my little espresso circle to the tab. And I want to make sure I do that before attaching the top piece, of course. I love this designer paper, this painted autumn paper, I think is what it's called, is retiring. It's in the holiday catalog, so won't be available after January 2nd. So on this one, on my original, as you can see, I did a pumpkin. So I could do a pumpkin on this. This is my Cajun Craze color. But I don't want to do a pumpkin now because I want this to be a little bit more neutral. So I decided to use a cat. So I've used my cat punch and I've sponged the edges of that. And I have some dimensionals on the back side. But first I want to add my burlap. So I'm going to put a few glue dots on the back of the burlap. And it really doesn't show through, although generally I would probably try to put them where the cat is, but I want to make sure that it stays down all over. And I think I'm going to trim my little edges off before I tack it down. I kind of like them at a bit of an angle. Let's see. Do the same angle on both sides. Right there. And then I'm just going to put my cat down. Now I could also face my cat the other way if I wanted. I think the cat is so cute. All right, now I have already done one of my little pieces of copper ribbon. But in your kit, if you get one, it will include some, and all I did was create an air bow, one of my favorite things to do. So I'll make 2 little ears and then just tie a knot with the 2 ears. And the hardest part is keeping it together while you get the bow in just the right shape that you want. And then I would just snip it off and go ahead and attach it. Got that piece taken care of. So now I'm going to go ahead and attach that with a glue dot, but before I do it, I want to decide what next. So on this one, of course, I did the being your friend is a real treat. So I wanted to show you that element quickly. So all that I did was I took that image and I stamped it on my piece of paper. Now, when you get your kit, it's going to come with 3 of these pre-punched shapes. These are punched from the Pretty Label punch. And so you'll, of course, just want to stamp wherever on this piece that you desire and then snip it off. Now, what I like to do when I have a full piece of cardstock is just stamp it on the top edge or the bottom edge, depending on where I want to position my word. And in this case, I want to position my word at the top. So you can see I'm just going to punch it out. And that way, I can stamp it right at the top of the piece of paper and just punch it out the way I want it. And then I'm going to take my espresso ink and sponge and just sponge the edges of that piece of cardstock. Now, you don't necessarily have to do that, sponge it, I mean, but I like that. That sponging sort of offsets it a little bit, helps it show up a little bit better on the designer paper. So you can also just lay it on there flat, or you can put dimensionals on it. In this case, I'm just going to go ahead and put it on there flat. If you wanted, you could, of course, also need to attach that. Attach it with a glue dot. I just poke it in there with my finger. Just balling up that glue dot a little bit so that it is in behind the knot of the bow. And there we go. You could also put your little bow, on the cat itself, which would be super cute. Or you can take a different shape, or the other alternative for this one, which I think is really fun, is to use one of the sentiments from the Painted Harvest stamp set. In this case, I'm going to use I'm Thankful for You. And I'm just going to stamp that in my espresso. So I'm inking it off camera. And make sure it's upright. And then I'm just going to take one of these shapes and stamp it in the middle. So instead of doing my cat, I could have done this in the center and then sponged that on the edge as well. But there's my new version of the mini pizza box. So now I'm going to take this same theme and use it for my gold striped whatever this is called, bag. And first I'm going to start by creating a banner. I've already attached this piece of designer paper to its backing, so I'm going to kind of gauge my sizing. And then the way I like to cut my banner, now that we have a banner punch, but this is actually 2.5 inches wide. I think it's 2.5 inches wide. And so it doesn't fit in the banner punch, the triple banner punch, where the widest is 2 inches. So what I like to do is just cut a little line where I see the middle up as far as I want it to go, and then I'm just going to cut from the point to the center. And generally speaking, this comes out pretty even for me. But it's a nice little easy trick, and if you don't have the banner punch, makes for an easy way to get the banner look. So that's just going to get attached there, and I think I'm going to put that one on dimensionals. And then I can go ahead and decorate as I like. So I can either use my cat again and my burlap. Of course, you're going to have those in there. Now, if I use the cat there, I'm going to want to sponge it. So just grabbing my Cajun Craze. And this just really gives the cat a lot of dimension to do it this way. Because, a cat isn't flat, right? And then, of course, I'll put dimensionals on the back side of my little kitty cat. So again, the other alternative, or one of the other alternatives, would be to take this sentiment, sponge the edge, and use that. Or maybe I even want to do both. Bring the cat down even lower, something like that. Or have the cat come up above, and then put the little bow right there. Of course, I have to trim that up, but you can decide. Lots of fun things to play with. So that's project number 2. Number 3 is the acetate box. And with the acetate box, you're going to want to fold it along the score lines first. And burnish them with your bone folder. And there's a lot of folds in here, so you want to make sure to do them all, even all the flaps. So if you don't burnish them and get a nice fold, then it kind of sticks up a little bit. So that's pretty nice and square on all sides. So now I'm going to take my piece of gold foil, and I'm going to start with it around the back side. And I'm not actually committing to my position top to bottom, just side to side, and I just want this piece to be as wide as that piece, or as long, I should say. And then I'm just going to fold it up and fold it in. And all I'm doing here, you can actually just stop right there, but since I like precision, I'm going to go ahead and take it off, and I'm going to fold it along those edges so that this lines up with the base, so I can make sure that it's square. And again, I'll burnish with my bone folder. You can see it lines up just like that. Do the same thing on the other side. And then making sure that you got your front facing forward, so I want my flaps of my box to go back. Then I'm going to get my positioning. So I have already done my banner for this one. Already cut the bottom. And just going to kind of decide where I want it to be. I think that's about the right position. So I'm going to start with a little bit of adhesive on these two edges, right here and right here. And you may want to use tear tape to have it be stronger, or your fast fuse. I'm just using snail right here at the moment. It's not going to be really under any tension, but it might hold it a little bit better on the foil paper. Okay, so holding that just so. And then I'm just centering it, and you can see I'm bridging the gap with the banner. And then, again, all I'm going to do is assemble my pieces. You can see I used this designer paper side, but I could also have done the pumpkins if I wanted to. And attach that piece. I have dimensionals on the back side. I've already sponged my cat. And away we go. And of course I can do whatever little design I want. Incidentally, when I first did this was a Halloween theme, so I did some little trick-or-treats, and I oriented it the long way on my little pretty label punch. So you can do whatever you want. There's also another bunch of other sentiments in there. One of them is the "You're sweet," I think, and anyway, really super cute little sentiments in there. So here are just a few photos of each of the finished projects for you to check out. So for this next segment, I'll be sharing 3 gift packages in these 3 styles again, with the Year of Cheer Designer Series paper, which is retiring with the holiday catalog on January 2nd of 2018. So this was my original box for this particular design. We're going to do some variations on this one, just like we did with the last one. So I'm speeding through the basic steps you've already seen, and what I'm going to try to do is just highlight the things that you may need to be reminded of, or the new things for each of the new designs. So first being, don't forget to put that little 1/2-inch circle on your tab before you move on. And now I'm starting with the design or the decoration of the front, and I'm using a snowflake from the Snowflake Sentiment set. I've heat embossed that snowflake already and put a faceted gem in the center, and I'm just backing it with a black starburst punched piece. Here I'm just putting some adhesive on the back side of my glimmer paper and putting it onto my foil snowflake, my gold foil snowflake. And I like to put dimensionals on the back as well. It's easier to put the gold glimmer paper on first and then those dimensionals, because it gives the foil snowflake a little bit more, well, sturdiness, I guess. Now you can see I'm orienting the foil snowflake differently on the one on the right versus the one on the left. I have the point pointing up on the left, and and it's just differently oriented on the right, if you can see it there. Now I'm putting a little bit of liquid glue onto the back side of that black starburst punch, just because nothing else will stick to that glimmer paper but the white glue. So now I'm beginning the process of assembling the treat bag for this color scheme, and it's, again, pretty much all the same. But one of the things you'll notice at the beginning is I actually attached dimensionals to the back side of that snowflake before I put the glimmer paper on the front, and it was really kind of flimsy and hard to maneuver. At one point I put it down, and then I kind of wanted to move it around, and I couldn't because it was so delicate. So just, again, put that glimmer paper on the front of the snowflake before you do the step you see me doing in front of you right now. So the rest is pretty much all the same. So as far as just the assembly and remembering to use the white glue on the back side of the dimensionals. So for this one, I have used a sentiment from the Snowflake Sentiment stamp set, and I heat embossed it with gold embossing powder. And I'm kind of trying to decide if I want to put it on dimensionals or not, and I decided to actually put it on there flat. I already have 2 layers of dimensionals. So at the top of the banner that I'm attaching now, I did already put on some gold faceted gems using my paper piercing tool, and I'm going to put dimensionals on the back side of my square piece as well. I like dimensionals a lot if you haven't already figured that out. So now I actually have 3 layers of dimensionals on this particular piece, and now I'm just finishing it up. So for the last project, it's the same process, of course, with the belly band. So I'm going to skip forward and just sort of show you the end. The focal piece is actually very similar for this acetate box. So here I'm doing the final assembly for the acetate box, and I have actually used archival black for the sentiment on this one, and of course I'm attaching the gold faceted gems with my paper piercing tool. So here's another version that I did where I watercolored using my aqua painter on some watercolor paper, and I've also colored in the bell and the bow with some smoky slate and crushed curry ink, and those are also colored with Wink of Stella. You can see them maybe a little bit there, kind of shimmer and shine, and it looks really, really pretty in person. My color palette is down there on the table. Now I'm picking it up. So this is where I pull my ink from to use the aqua painter. So here are all the projects that I've made in this color scheme, plus here are a few close-ups. Alright, so for this last set of projects, as you can see, I've pretty much assembled most of the gift packages and all the layering because we've done pretty much everything already to show you how to do it. So what I'm doing in front of you now is, of course, watercoloring my snowman. I actually watercolored 2 snowmen to put on these as focal pieces. So for watercoloring, the most important tip I can give you is to make sure to wet the area that you're going to color first, and only wet that area. Otherwise it will bleed into other parts of your focal piece, and that happens to me quite often. So here I am actually finished doing the watercoloring, and I'm just snipping off the little hole for the tag since I'm not going to need it for these particular projects. So while I finish up, I want to tell you a little bit about how you can get these kits for free. It's actually really easy. All you have to do is place a qualifying order in my online store using the current hostess code. I would normally charge $33 for a class with this much preparation and materials included, but you can get it for free with a merchandise order of just $60 from my online store. Plus there's more. When you spend just $10 more, so a $70 merchandise purchase, I'll throw in a free package of the gold faceted gems. But keep in mind, if your order is $150 in merchandise or more, please don't use the hostess code because at that point you'll be eligible for hostess benefits, and I want to make sure you get those benefits. So there will be a shipping charge to mail your Class to Go kits to you. That'll be a flat rate shipping charge of $7.20. And if you do place your order online, after I see that the order has come in, I will send you an email with the next steps. So I hope you've loved these projects. If so, I'd love to give them as a gift to you. So I hope you'll hop on over to my online store and make a purchase. There's a link to my store in the description below this video. Thanks for spending some time with me today and allowing me to share what I love with you.